Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. Turns out that the young kid viciously smeared by Deadspin senior writer J Phillips is Native American himself. Now, that's not to play the left's game and to say that if the kid was full white that somehow Phillips would have had a point or anything like that. But I think it's hilarious to use Phillips' own standard against himself because, honestly, as if it couldn't get worse for Phillips, who took it upon himself to smear a child as a racist who hates black people and Native Americans simultaneously because he dared to wear the colors of his favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs, as face paint. You know, as sports fans have always done. But of course, the outlet only showed the black painted side of the child's face to make it seem other than what it obviously was. It's also funny that a writer for sports outlet Outkick also found old pictures of one of the big-name hosts siding with J Phillips to attack a young sports fan, also wearing red and black face paint in what looks like some metal or rock throwback. I don't know. Either way, I thought there was never, ever any excuse or justification for such disgusting displays, they've told us. Anyway, the poor mother who has to see her son's face plastered all over major media outlets as some kind of villain noted on Facebook that her son is part Native American, and not in the Elizabeth Warren kind of way. Turns out the kid's grandpa sits on the board of the Chumash Tribe in Santa Ynez, California, according to the Post-Millennial, which also found that he was listed as a business committee member who was first elected to the board back in 2016. Videos also come out showing the kid doing the Tomahawk Chop that got the panties of J Phillips all in a bunch. But guess what? Players on the team, many of whom are black themselves, could be seen joining in with the young fan and doing their own chops. Is Phillips going to write equally scathing articles about those players too? Because even though they aren't wearing face paint, they're still culturally appropriating the Tomahawk Chop, right? So when are those hit pieces coming out? I'm waiting. Or did you, Karen, only go after what you thought was a white kid because he's white and dare to have fun without caring about your woke agenda that turns everything into a tribalistic fight of my people versus your people? I think it's also of interest to note that despite always hearing about how being non-white in America is the greatest burden of all time, so full of oppression and hostility, that we keep getting stories of white people passing as another race. It's never the other way around. Because during actual Jim Crow, black and Native American people who could pass as white did so for the benefits. That shows where the power was, right? But now that paradigm has flipped. White people are either faking or embellishing any non-white heritage they may have, or they're accused of blackfishing online, which means when megastars like Kylie Jenner wear dark makeup and spray tans to appear mixed race or black. Where does that show the power is now for any lefty who cares to be intellectually honest? Just take a look at this new article from Blaze Media. It reads, quote, Buffy St Marie is an Academy Award-winning folk singer who has claimed Native American heritage since the early 1960s. In her art and activism, she has spoken from what Teen Vogue called an indigenous perspective, repeatedly condemning colonization and referring to America's founding and the supposed erasure of American Indians as genocide. She also has touted herself as a survivor of an allegedly racist government welfare program that placed certain Native American kids in foster homes. Liberal media outfits devoured and trafficked in the singer's claims for years, suggesting, for instance, that the singer had been forcibly taken away from her Native American family, that she was raised in a small town where there was almost nobody that looked like her, that she was Cree. A birth certificate, testimony from family members, genealogical data, and an altogether damning report from the Canadian state media have knocked out the pillar upon which St. Marie has long built her persona. She was not born in Canada. She was likely not adopted. She is most likely of Italian and English heritage, end quote. And yet all these years, she's claimed to be full Native American with Algonquin, Mi'kmaq, or Cree blood. Her story always differed somewhat. But that didn't stop her from complaining to an underground Berkeley newspaper in California back in 1967 that a bunch of college students were pretending to be Indians, unlike her, obviously. And then in 1978, she performed on Sesame Street. Watch.